Yeah, quick introduction. I am Sridhar. I'm part of Vinay's team and I'm program manager with Teams Engineering as well. Here to help you guys build your solutions on Teams platform. So to start off with different scenarios in employee empowerment, I'm going to walk you through like how an end-to-end recruitment experience could look with Teams, right? Like Teams powers chat, collaboration platform, and even calling and meetings. And how do we leverage all of that along with all the goodness that Teams platform has to offer to look at like an end-to-end recruitment to have make it happen on Teams platform. So I'll just walk you through the same. Mandar, next slide. Yeah, so if you look at like a end-to-end recruitment, like here are all the different steps you would have, right? Like before even the opening happens, like HR has to have that conversation with the recruiting manager to prepare that job description and post the vacancy, say on like a different integration or like job portals that you might have. You might leverage like LinkedIn integration for that. You might have like your own careers portal where like you would want to post your job description. After that, like a lot of folks will apply, so you have to have that central repo where you access all of those applications and shortlist a candidate. You can even integrate that along with like candidate analytics, which can look at like keywords and create like a matching score based on which like you can make that informed decision, right? After like you have shortlisted candidates, you would need help in scheduling that particular interviews or meetings or like whatever interview loop that you might have specific to your org, and have all of them conducted over a Teams meeting and do even the evaluation as part of this Teams platform meeting, right? And once like you have decided on the candidate, like you prepare and roll out an offer and you kickstart the onboarding process from there. Now let us look at like how this end-to-end process can look like on Teams platform. On the next slide. So if you look at it, so here is all the different personas that get into the conversation or like are part of this entire loop as you look at the end-to-end process, right? Hiring manager works with the recruiter over a one-on-one chat to collaborate and like post the job description that is open for the role that they have. Then the hiring manager receives like a bunch of candidate applications. All the recruiters are brought together to form a recruiting team. So like it might not be the one manager like who is going to take a call. You will have like a bunch of people collaborating over multiple interview sessions to give their feedback, and you need to have like one collaborative space where you are able to access what is the review that each candidate has received from different people who are part of the recruiting team, right? And all of them have to conduct the interview, and like you might have like organization values that you want to evaluate in the meeting, and you want to share guidance on like what to look for a candidate within the meeting, right? This might and this coaching is also do with the help of meeting extensibility and all the feedback that you have captured during the meeting, like so that there is no post meeting work that they will have to do. You can leverage like meeting extensibility to capture feedback even as part of the meeting and go forward from there. Now let us look at like specific items or like specific pieces that make up this entire end-to-end solution, as we call it. So this can be a combination of different custom LOB applications that you develop, or like some of the ISV or like the independent software vendor applications that are already available in our Teams platform app store today, which you could look at starting out. And these might be some of these applications like Talview or something that you might already use in terms of conducting these recruitment drives as part of your organization recruitment, right? So I look at like each of these experiences and how they leverage like different aspects of Teams platform. The way Vinay talked about earlier, like tabs, bots, or meeting extensions, like how are they used today to drive like an end-to-end recruitment experience? Manda, next slide. Yeah, so like let us look at the first part of the application where the hiring manager and the recruiter actually are having a conversation. Now, I'm not able to control the slide for some reason.
There, you should be able to control, right? Because anyway, yeah, you can tell me, I'll guide you.
Yeah. If you could play back slowly, yeah. So first step of the entire recruitment process is where like you have hiring manager who is having a conversation with the recruiter saying that, hey, like I have this open position in my team and I want to recruit someone for a software engineer to role, right? And the recruiter will respond with, that's great. Like, could you share like the job description that you are thinking of posting? Now with the help of like the 1P application or the Word application that's already there in our Teams platform, the recruiting manager can actually create right within Teams itself and post it in the chat. And we have messaging actions from where like the HR can actually create this particular vacancy, and with the backend integration with their existing job portal or like jobs database, they can post this job description right into that a particular application. So if you see here, the HR is actually using the messaging actions and creating a job posting right from the conversation there. So a parallel to think for this particular scenario is like, suppose like you want to create like a task repository, or you want to create some sort of like a reminder or something, right? Like from the conversation, these messaging actions allow you to create all of that. And in specific to this particular scenario, you can look here. So based on the conversation, it picked out the keyword saying that, okay, the position is software engineering too. Mandar, if you could go a little bit ahead.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, the position is software engineer too. The job ID is so and so. Here is the hiring manager. This is the location. All of that is something that has been received based on the conversation, and the HR just has to do click on right. And also like with the help of role-based access, you can control who are the people who have access to posting this particular job description or like requirement into your internal jobs database. Now moving on to the next stage, which is basically where you receive notifications regarding all the different applications that have been received for your a particular opening that you have created. So here is like a recruiting application that has been created in a personal scope for the hiring manager, right? And so the hiring manager gets proactive notifications at the start of the day saying that, hey, this was the open position that you posted. Here are all the openings that have been created by here are, your job has been posted. Here are all the different like applications that have been received by the job that you have been posted. If you could move it a little bit ahead from the,
Yeah. So
I'm
Sridhar,
still seeing
meanwhile,
the first slide. If you
okay.
could go to the
So
next one.
sure. Sridhar, meanwhile, while
Yeah.
you're coming with that, I wanted to ask, this is just like an art of possible, right? If because we have a lot of customers here, they might have their own recruitment process, correct? So
Mhm.
can they bring that on Teams, or this is just like a specific example, which or this is the only way they can, bring on Teams?
No, so like so that's the beauty of Teams platform, right? Like so today you might just have an existing database which might live on-prem or on cloud, or you might have like a cloud foundry that is supporting your on-prem solution. All of those are something that can act as a backend and that can integrate with different platform extensibility points, like the tab that we are seeing here, or the task module that we are seeing here, or the bots that we have spoken about, right? They can all integrate with your existing infra. And what Teams offers you is that very rightly, as what Vinay pointed out, you might have like one application that you are maintaining for your Android, one application code base that you are maintaining for your iOS, and integrating all of that and ensuring that all of them are in the same maturity or like are evolving the same way as you would want would be a very hard and uphill task. And that's where like Teams is becoming that super powerful platform where if you develop just for your desktop, say, right, it is by default compatible with all the different platforms that you have, be it Android, iOS, Mac, Linux, or like web as well. So like Teams platform offers that great capability. You can even integrate with activity feed notifications to send out notifications across all different platforms. Uh,
Sure.
right. So coming back to this particular scenario about end-to-end recruitment experience. So as you see here, here are all the different candidates who have applied. And I spoke about earlier, I spoke about candidate analytics, where like based on the keywords that are there in the resume, it will give you a score, and based on which like you can actually go ahead and schedule interviews, right? So here is where like you have chosen all the different candidates, and yeah, and you are creating a new team saying that, hey, I want to create like an interview loop, so that all the interviews that I create with the candidates that I have shortlisted, these are the folks that are going to be part of that interview loop. You can even do the scheduling with the help of like super powerful and compliant graph APIs we have for scheduling the meeting, adding meeting applications into that particular meeting. All of that is something that we can realize with what is possible with Teams platform. Now, going to the next slide, where you have created a team, say like you just saw where Aaron, Hillary, they have all created one team, which is acting as a recruiting team, where using Microsoft Bookings, they are able to leverage their existing calendar to allow the interviewer, the interviewee or the interviewing candidate to book a time with any of the member in the interview loop, right? So that is where like bookings API is being leveraged, so that based on the booking, the meeting is getting created. So here is where you're sharing your availability, so to ensure that the candidate books in that particular time. And here is the duration. And this is what the candidate is actually going to see, where he can actually book the time based on his availability and your availability automatically, right? Now let us go to actually like what the experience is going to look like in the meeting, in the pre-meeting setup, right? Where I spoke earlier about like where we are able to add questions to the interview, so that like the interview is actually aligned with the organizational values that you have. If I have to talk about Microsoft's organization values, like we have a value for like respect, right? So how do I see that? All of those assessment questions and cultural fit is something that you can dictate with the help of like pre-meeting and during meeting experiences, by ensuring that you capture feedback about each candidate aligned with the questions that you might have. So here I'm adding questions related to different roles that are there, so that like those questions pop up during a meeting, and I can actually rate the candidate during a meeting with the in-meeting panel here. So if you see here, this has automatically given me an overview of like all the different all the different details about a candidate, like what are the skills they have mentioned in their particular CV, what is the feedback received by the people who have interviewed the candidate earlier, and also like going forward, it can go to the questions and rate them based on specific questions that you have added in the pre-meeting experience. The good part here is that some of these applications which already do this, like ICIMS or HireView, which are being used today by organizations to conduct their recruitment drives, is already integrated with Teams platform, and those applications are available in the App Store as well, right? Now, like suppose like we are in the post-meeting phase, like where we have a bunch of candidates and we want to share a review in the recruitment team that I have created and finalize on the candidate that I want to go ahead, right? Here is where messaging extensions come into picture, where like all the candidates I have interviewed, their particular stage of the interview is shown, and I can click on them, and the adaptive card actually is posting all the information related to that candidate, like resume or scheduling interview, and then sharing their feedback in the channel saying that, hey, I found this candidate really exceptionally, really well. I think we have to go ahead with that. So then maybe like if you have like a bar raiser round, or like a round where you have to you have to conduct a final interview to go ahead with the procedure, you can schedule that interview right from this particular adaptive card that has been posted. Once all the interviews are done, and you are ready to update an offer and share an offer, you can hop on call with the candidate. With a deep integration we have with Adobe Sign or DocuSign, you can even roll out the offer right within the meeting and have something we call as a live signing in the meeting itself, so that like the candidate understands what the role is, like what is the compensation offer he is getting, and you get a confirmation from the candidate saying that they are going to join the meeting, right? And that is where like the post offer flow is going to start, where you can even onboard your candidates as guest users into your tenant and share any sort of like pre-boarding documents for them to upskill on your product or on the work like they would be doing as part of your organization, right? And like just to like extend the scenario from end-to-end recruitment, we are even showing like what is possible as part of like onboarding experience to the candidate, right? In the onboarding kit, like you might have like something like you want to capture personal details related to candidate, and all of that is something that can be made available as part of day one onboarding kit, where you ask the candidate to feed in like information or contact details, or like maybe sign into all the different documents, since we are all onboarding offline due to the pandemic, right? So that is the end-to-end scenario of a recruitment with the position opening, conducting interviews, rolling out an offer, and onboarding the candidate as well. Now to just look at like quickly on how the architecture is going to look like, based on what we showed. We saw the HR, recruiter, hiring manager, and interviewer all interacting with the bot through a bot or through a tab, and Teams is acting as that UX layer. Since tabs are basically iframes, the HTML is hosted in the app service, and app service is in turn interacting through APIs with your existing database. It might be your internal job database, candidate database, or Q&A database. And on the Azure table storage, we are maintaining information related to the conversation ID and the user ID mapping, or like the feedbacks that we are giving as part of the interview loops, or the schedules, etc. Right? You can even see here there is an interface with the Graph API, which is enabling a lot of automations in terms of scheduling these meetings. There is even an integration with bookings here, which is allowing you to pick the slot when you want to interview. And if you see here, interview candidate has to join through web by scheduling a slot through the web application, which is also hosted on the app service, right? And if you see like the entire application that has been hosted for the tenant users or the enterprise users, it is all protected by Azure Active Directory. So you're always compliant and secure in terms of like the security aspects of it, right? So that was it from the recruitment app perspective. I'll hand it back to you, Manda, to go ahead with the next application, which is the inventory application.
Yeah, sure. So, Sridhar, there is a question on chat which Vinay had answered, but I would like to amplify. The question was the recruitment scenario being shown. Is it like a ISV app which we have built? So that's the question. So to answer that, it's not an ISV app. It is basically built with combination of core functionality of Microsoft Teams and the platform extensibility points which Vinay mentioned, like tabs, bots, etc. Not only that, it also leverages if we have to connect to few Microsoft functionalities like bookings, meetings, etc. It leverages the Graph APIs to do so. However, Sridhar, I would like to ask you a question. What if somebody already has an ISV through which they manage interviews, like a HireView or TalView? How they can surface that kind of an experience on Teams?
Great question. So would it be okay like I share my screen for a bit?
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
Please.
we spoke about store applications already being available. Like one of those is HireView, as we saw it, right? Now, if you see, like one of the experiences that we showed in the presentation was on how questions can be added into the meeting and it can be surfaced as part of the meeting, right? And HireView is like one of the leaders in like providing solutions for conducting these recruitment drives, and they are already deeply integrated with Teams, and this application is already available, right? Similar to this, like even TalView is something that's available, which also does like a bunch of things. One is for interviews here, and there is another application which is like a workflow application for actually like creating your particular job descriptions, like or like scheduling like interviews and all of that. So a bunch of these applications are already available, and if you have already purchased license as an organization for these applications, and you're integrated with them through AAD or like a pop-up based authentication, all of those are already supported. So with your existing access, you can access them on Teams as well to integrate it more seamlessly with you in the flow of your work. So that would be the answer for like how to use your existing ISV applications on Teams platform. We would be happy to hop on a call, bring in your TalView partner or like HireView partner as well, to give a walkthrough of how the application looks if there are such cases today.
Sure, sure. Thanks, Sridhar. And one more question was like these ISV apps that you showed from the App Store just now, like TalView and HireView. These are available to our customers, right, on the store, as long as their IT admin has not blocked it, correct?
Yeah, that is right. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And if we have to build something custom and like, which suits your processes, which suits your unique hiring requirements, that's also possible by Teams. And once again, we'll share a call to action form in the end where you can let us know what are these unique requirements, and we are happy to partner with you to build that on Teams as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just another point to add there, like a lot of organizations have probably integrated with SAP SuccessFactors or like Oracle HCM for their human cloud management. So all of those are backend, and like there are APIs, both RESTful SOAP or like OData APIs that are available in an SAP system, which can again integrate with Teams, right? And like this is to ensure that a lot of times, like due to the non-seamlessness of the process, like there might be there might be deviation from like how the actual work happens, and to stick to that is where like Teams platform comes into picture, and it can integrate with any of the investments that you have made, probably in Oracle HCM or like SAP SuccessFactors as well.
Got it.
And just to add to that, thank you, Sridhar. And just to add to what Sridhar was talking about, right? One way I have internalized this or helped me is the source systems can continue. So if you have existing investments on systems that track, let's say, candidate profiles and candidate resumes, those will continue to exist. What Teams adds is, think of it as a system of engagement, right? When you need users to come together, provide input, do approvals, look at candidate, take actions, surfacing that data and actions in Teams is how this complements that existing system. So we can, so the processes can be done much quicker. So that's one way of looking at how the process is enabled and works and coexists and works with existing investments and systems that are in place.
Got it. Now, thanks Vinay, and thanks Sridhar for taking us through the scenario.